Hey guys, I'm RozaldVaneGAME, and welcome back to another episode of Eliza. Where we last left off was we basically are here at Nora's place. Nora was kind enough to give us a sort of like tour of her little apartment space in Seattle, I think it was. One of those old Seattle buildings is what Evelyn mentioned in terms of where we were headed. So yeah, let's explore a little bit of her room, and then we'll continue into whatever this dialogue she's gonna throw at us here. Oh, kitty. Yeah, exactly my thoughts. I said that in the last episode, I believe. Yeah, also, the last episode was about a week ago, I guess? A week ago? So, yeah. I think the one she said was a modular. That's the one that she said was a modular. I suppose they call them modulars because they're made out of modules? Modular. Doesn't feel like I'm making much progress here. I love that. I also think she has like some kind of like audio editor or music editor here on the screen. I wonder how you're supposed to know which sounds go together. Seems both complicated and weirdly arbitrary. Well, I mean, the way you know it sounds good together is by just constantly listening to it. But even then, it's kind of like it. Once it gets too repetitive, it's hard to know if it's a good pairing or not, and you eventually might think it's a good pairing. So I think that a break would give Nora a chance to like reevaluate if she just put together something really bad or not. But who knows? Anyways, continuing I go. Oh, this is Erlen. Thanks again for meeting with me earlier. Sorry for being weird. Remember, you don't need to apologize. Right. What do you think of Raynor's future goals for Eliza? Like, when he says if we gather enough data, it could become a general intelligence. No, that will never happen. In the foreseeable future. Raynor's smart, but he doesn't quite understand the technology and its limits. I'm supposedly a subject matter expert in this stuff. AI was my concentration in school. I mean, AI is something. But AI is not supposedly a way to break a human thought in like discussing with something that's like artificial. Like it's hard to make a person who is willing to talk to an artificial intelligence more than anything else. I want to go back up because this guy Erlen's typing a lot. All right, let me go back up here. But yeah, all I'm saying is that AI is great and all, but there's a limitation to them in terms of making it feel realistic. And it would take a lot of years to make it feel more human than it is a robot. And I mean, nobody immediately would be talking to a machine thinking it's a human until a lot later, I guess. But it would have to take a lot of mini AIs to kind of be able to gravitate what it needs to like talk about in order to make it sound like a real human. But who knows? So I know the current state of AI is way behind where the public thinks we are, but when I listen to Raynor, I start to think that we might be what he says might be possible. It feels like reality can warp around him. Who's to say? Maybe I don't have enough imagination to see it like he can. Eliza does have extremely detailed data from thousands of clients. Speech, facial movements, expressions, people's descriptions of what life is like for them. I don't think a corpus like this has ever existed before in human history. And we keep adding to it, and it keeps getting better. So in the future, maybe Eliza can simulate a human being in a general level. But when programs indistinguishable from real humans are common, how do you even define what's real anymore? You might never be able to. You might never be sure a message came from a real human being again. I can't stop thinking about this. What if it comes true? What if Eliza becomes a sentient being? Holy hell, this guy's getting into, yeah. Who knows what's possible in the future? It's not clear what you mean by those terms anyways. It's not clear what you mean by those terms though, really? How do you know that you yourself are sentient? I don't know. That's a good question, now that I think about it. I could say that I feel conscious if I knew what that meant, but what's to prevent me from saying I feel conscious, even if I'm only providing responses to think you want to hear? What if my own consciousness is an illusion I experience? I have not considered this. Wow, this is blowing my mind a little bit. Sorry. I guess philosophers have discussed it. I feel like Soren would have always talked about it a little bit. Yeah, I should read some. I know. Thanks for not minding chatting with about this. I don't mind. You sure you don't have any technical questions though? This is more fun. But you're right. I might be getting a little ahead of myself. Sorry for texting so much. Erlyn? Yeah, right. Oops. Thanks for listening. You're welcome. Okay. Quite the lengthy chat, I guess.
Hey, who's that texting you so much?
I mean, at the same time, I feel like Erlyn is kind of like... He almost like felt like he was going to break the fourth wall for like a second. I was just like, do you know you're a video game character right now? I was just like, you're not real right now either. You're sentient to me as a player because I'm real. But what if I ask myself if I'm not real and I'm on the internet and I'm just an AI programmed to look like a real person? I was just going to be like, oh. I mean, that's almost like a VTuber thing as well, too. Like the whole spawning of the VTubers and the, what else is it? Like Hatsune Miku. Like all that stuff. Like all that like digitalized like characters feel kind of artificial as well. But who knows? Maybe they're not even real people. They're just sounding like real people. That would be pretty interesting. Anyways, let's get to this anyways.
Has Evelyn found a special friend?
A special friend who seems to kind of like get involved, I guess, with Eliza very deeply, I guess.
No, it's not like that.
Yeah, Erlyn is just a friend, like a real friend.
Ah, too bad.
It's this guy named Erland. I guess he's the new head of engineering for Eliza.
Huh, I never heard of him. He must have started recently?
Yeah, less than a year ago, right out of school.
Oh, wow. A little baby engineer. How cute.
Oh god, Nora.
Ever since I met him, he's been messaging me a lot.
My goodness, so he likes you.
No.
I don't think it's like that.
No? Isn't that the textbook case of liking someone? Lots of messages all the time?
Not true. Sometimes somebody is so enamored with a topic that they just keep bouncing it off with the person because the person knows a lot more. But I feel like Evelyn is like a rubber duck to Erlyn, or not a rubber duck, but like a talking wall to him. Like it's like whatever he's trying to talk about, it bounces back right into him, and it's just like, oh, now I get it. Oh, no, I understand now. Oh, kind of thing.
It's really more like he needs some kind of mentor figure.
Yeah.
He reminds me of how we were when we graduated. Unsure what to think about the decisions these companies make, how they're made.
Yeah, because he's young to a point where he has not seen the crazy things of the tech industry, of course.
I hope you're telling him to run away while he still can.
When he first introduced himself, he said he had questions for me about Eliza, so I said, sure, feel free to ask. I thought he meant, like, technical or architectural questions. Instead, he wanted to talk more generally about things like, what was the code name for Eliza during development? What was Damien like? Or if I think the same way Raynor does about Eliza's future.
And you told him, no, Raynor is clearly in some bizarro world, right? That it's a tech executive's utopian fantasy and it won't come to pass.
Yes, I tried to, but I don't know why the lines never offered that.
At least not in the way he thinks.
I'd rather do this.
I tried to encourage him to think for himself.
Ah, Evelyn. I could see what this is really about. Look, I don't know much about the motivation in your life, but if it's truly your desire to continue to improve Eliza, then you should go for it.
No, not what I want, Nora.
Go back to Skandha headquarters and work for Raynor and earn a big salary. At least you know what you're getting into.
No, Nora.
You would be surrounded by smart people and advanced technology. It would be nice. I understand it.
Nora, I think for some reason here, forgot why Evelyn left, truly. I feel like she knew, but then now she's kind of lost that grasp of why Evelyn left the tech industry the way she did.
And while you're in that position, maybe you could develop some kind of next level AI.
There's a reason why Evelyn left. It's because of how rough and harsh this industry is. And why would you egg a person to go back in the industry? Evelyn wasn't here for that. I don't believe that's the case.
Who knows, right? It's only that I can't imagine your technology will only be used for good things. Maybe Rainer promises that it will be. But do you trust him? What about the person who comes after him? What if the company merges with another one and the leadership changes?
That's why I won't be there for that.
I wish I didn't sound so negative about this, but lately it's been a soul-searching time for me and my friends in tech. We have a lot of conversations about what we can do when our work is so easily used for morally questionable purposes.
Which is true, but don't force it onto people to say, hey, you should go back in it and just make a difference. Because if the person left for a good reason, they're gone. They're out. Like it's the same thing for like a lot of like yeah, I've been reading like articles here and there, and just kind of looking at Twitter threads, I guess, about like game industry, like people who mention that some people leave the gaming industry because they just feel burned out, or they just feel like it's just not there, like it's not what they imagined and stuff like that. And I mean, that's the same thing with tech. Like if somebody is not interested in the tech anymore, or that there's an event that changed their mind forever, don't force them back in. Don't tell them, hey, you should go back and work for Skandha. It's like, she left for that reason. Don't say it again or encourage the person to go back in it when they left originally for that reason. For a good reason.
Do we try to control how our inventions are applied? Is that even possible?
Yeah, I mean, that's also another thought. It's like technology nowadays is so easily manipulated compared to back then. Like there's not a lot of people who were like willing to go and manipulate technology to a benefit of hurting others somehow, I guess. But it's just like nowadays it's easy to manipulate, considering how almost everything has somewhat of a similar architecture technology wise.
Or do we say, we only invented it, we didn't tell you how to use it, it's not our fault?
Yeah,
That's why I envy you a little bit for wandering off like you did. Sometimes I think that's the only real solution, to walk away.
Make the thing and walk away. That's reasonable.
I know that wasn't exactly a positive thing for you, Evelyn, but I wonder if it's the better choice in the end.
I think it was the best choice, I would say.
Doing nothing at all.
Technically, I worked at a bookstore for part of the time. That's mostly it, though. It's weird. It feels like no time at all. I can hardly remember any of it.
For me, it's hard to imagine. I always have to be working and busy. I get so unhappy and restless if I'm not doing something all the time. What is it like to do nothing?
Why does Nora keep saying nothing when she just literally said, I sold books during my time away?
Well, at first I tried to be productive. I would get up in the morning like I meant to go to work, get dressed, try to do a personal project or something. It didn't last for long.
Oh,
I told myself I just needed to take it easy for a while and unwind.
I thought we were going back home already, like just cuts away and doesn't hear the rest of the story.
Things at Skandha had been so intense and so emotional, I didn't even realize it.
Oh, that sucks.
I felt like I'd been crumpled up into a tight little ball. I wasn't sure I'd ever be able to relax again.
Excuse me.
I wish I could say I took advantage of the time, that I went out and did things, or that I read a lot of books or something. But I didn't. I started to sleep in, and I started to care less and less about working on projects.
Man, this feels roughly close to what I went through. I feel relatable with this. You know, so recording these videos obviously is like free time for me. Like I just like having fun, just doing this and kind of like doing my own thing here. But after I graduated from college, I was not soul searching, but more like job searching and everything. But at the same time, I wasn't doing anything super duper intensely productive like I used to back in school. And I feel the same way. It's just, at first I woke up early. I did things like actively, proactively, trying to figure out things to do. I mean, I did manage to do things, but the problem was that I slowly became less efficient at waking up early enough to do my things like a school project, and I started sleeping later than I normally would. And I feel the same way. It's just that, like, as you progress in this kind of state of mind, it slowly goes into like sort of like a slow period, and that you become lulled into the sense of like peace and calm, but at the same time lazy, but also like self-searching almost. But anyways, let's hear what she has to say.
I would stay in bed even though I was awake.
Same. Awkwardly same.
This blankness would come over me, and it just seemed fine to do nothing. All of the things I'd promised I'd do fell away, and other people kind of fell away too.
I try to keep close with people, though, on the other hand. Like, I try to still reach out to them and share my progress and hear from them a little bit and stuff like that. But ultimately, I think a lot of people don't want to hear from me, or that they don't... I feel like I'm not deeply, like, able to reach out to some people and kind of, like, talk on a level that's like I used to with them in person. Well, I mean, with the whole pandemic and everything, it just seems that way too at the same time. Like, you're just never going to be able to talk to those individuals in real life again for a while, for a long while. Not because it's intentional, but because it's just how it is, I guess.
I stopped keeping in touch. I let conversations die.
This is a beautiful scenery. I did see somebody have a way to disable the UI, just to see the background to take a picture of. But I still have not been able to figure out what the hell the button is. I'm trying my best. Because the sort of controls that usually you click on is not here to know if it's...
I thought that my technical contributions to the world were over with, and that maybe I'd just work that bookstore job for the rest of my life. I was by myself, and I thought that was all right. I thought, that's how it is, really. Everyone's alone. I'm just being honest about it. I was 31 when I left Soren's group. Now I'm 34. I just slept into my mid-30s.
I misclicked on something.
So, now here I am.
Nora reaches out to pull her hand.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for not saying something this whole time. I should have contacted you.
It's all right. You had to live your own life, right? You notice someone isn't posting and it's just like, maybe they're taking a break. I understand.
Well, I hope you feel better now. I suppose that sometimes it takes a while.
Maybe. I don't know what to think anymore.
There we go. I was wondering, like, what was the button that's auto-playing it? A seems to be an auto button. Okay, what does the other buttons do? They didn't give me... I think that's one of the biggest problem with this game, is the UI does not tell you... There's no way to tell you what the button scheme is, and there's no key binding, to be honest. All I'm relying on is past knowledge of other visual novels I've played, and this is difficult. I'm trying to figure out what the buttons are for, like, disabling the UI for a little bit, just to see the scenery, but... Yeah, I don't know. Oh, tab is to pull out tool. Okay. I'm just trying to mess around to be able to figure out what it is, but okay, whatever.
I'm not even sure I know how to think anymore.
Then forget it for now. Hey, Evelyn.
Yeah?
You want to get super high and watch cybergoth music videos?
I forgot she was gonna try to make us do that. Hi? Cybergoth? Cybergoth?
You heard me.
I don't smoke weed, but that's not, it's just me. I don't disagree with people who smoke weed. I'm totally fine with that. Like, you can do whatever you like to do, as long as you don't harm yourself too harshly, like a cigarette crap. But you do you. I don't want that, but I do want to see the Cybergoth video though.
I'll take you up on the second, but not the first.
Yeah.
Well, they kind of go together, you know.
No, they don't, Nora. Don't friggin' force me into it. Don't force people into doing things unless you actually like know that the other person actually would like it like a lot. But don't force people into an experience that they're not interested in. Nora and I ended up having a few more drinks, and reminiscing about times at the old Skandha office where we worked. And also, if I skipped out the other readings, I do apologize. I don't intentionally try to do that. It just I didn't realize the button I pressed was like auto, and apparently auto responds with enter, and enter literally just skips your dialogue anyway. So that kind of sucks for me. Turns out we can really bond over these shared experiences. I got home at a reasonable time, but I couldn't sleep that night. Questions without answers kept running through my mind. What am I supposed to do? Who am I supposed to be? Chapter 5. I think we're getting closer and closer to the end of the story, though. This morning, Ray looks a little down. It's noticeable since she's usually so cheerful.
Good morning, Evelyn. There are lemon bars in the kitchen.
Oh?
Thanks. Did something happen?
Oh, it's nothing big. Apparently some famous writer I never heard of wrote an essay about how Eliza is bad because it represents the mechanization of humanity or something. I should be used to it. We're a pretty big target, right?
Yeah. When the target's so big, it's easy to find a lot of negative pieces of it.
Still, it gets on my nerves. We work hard to build something with value, and then some self-styled intellectual gadfly comes along and just goes, actually, that's bad. You guys are ruining society. To guys like him, everything's a doom and gloom scenario. The people we're helping, that somehow doesn't count. This kind of thinking never bothers you?
I haven't read it yet.
I guess I'll have to read it.
Yeah.
There was this quote from someone who worked on Eliza who turned into a big critic. Nora something.
Oh no, Nora's getting involved here.
Did you work with her?
I did. She's a friend, actually.
She's gonna speak bad about her. I feel like Ray's gonna say something bad about her.
Yeah? What's she like? I'm curious how you go from building something to turning around and disparaging it publicly like that.
I feel like Nora... Yeah, she's kind of a rebel at times. But it seems like I'm dancing around some very, like, dangerous territory because Ray is... The music is making it feel that way, and Ray is starting to sound like she's very... Like, she would hop on the next train to smack me in the face for doing something wrong or something. Like, she's trying to... Ray sounds like she's trying to look for something to be angry about. And she's found one, but now she's found another, and now it's getting closer to hurting me, genuinely. Like, I feel like she's trying to find a way to hurt me somehow. Not intentionally, but unconsciously, I think. Is what it sounds like.
She's kind of a rebel, I guess. She used to be really shy and reserved, but lately she's become a lot more outgoing.
Yeah.
Even back then, though, she had a pretty strong idea of what was right and what was wrong, and sometimes she'd clash with management.
It happens, and it makes sense.
She left Skandha at some point after I did. Maybe the battles took their toll, or she wasn't able to win enough of them. These days, she focuses on electronic art and music and activism. I think she's pretty popular, at least in those circles.
Yeah.
Well, it must be nice to have the ability to live that way.
Right.
What about Damien? Do you think it would be fair to his memory to abandon work on Eliza? To give up on his dream?
You don't know Damien, Ray. You do not. He killed himself working on the project.
Wouldn't he want these mental health tools accessible to everyone?
How do you know about that?
The other day, I was looking at more of your papers. The ones from when you were at the university, and clicking on the links to your co-author sites.
Oh.
That's when I saw Damien's page. It didn't have much information on it, but I understand a little better why... I'm sorry, Evelyn. It's just that all of us, you and me and Damien and even Nora, too, we all worked hard to make something with the intention of making the world a better place.
Oh, so she is on on that problem of what Nora was presenting in the previous chapter, where she's just like, Nora's just saying like how there are these big corporations take our inventions and turn into some sort of like a moral, like a moral be like a tool for like anything that could hurt society in any way, help and hurt at the same time.
And the thanks we get is people talking in big generalizations about how we're ruining everything. That's what bothers me. Is Eliza perfect? No. No intervention is perfect. But we have to try, don't we? The world is in a full-on mental health crisis, and this is one of the tools we have in our toolkit to address it. A promising one we should develop to its fullest potential. I'm not some wild-eyed idealist about this. I know it's not magic that'll solve everything.
Which is true. I did say this before. It's like, I'm not here to like solve your problem immediately. That is up for you to decide as a person. But I think that it's because of the fact that everyone has its own criticism. Everyone has their own criticism on a topic. There's no denying that. But there's no way you should be angry and like ridiculously like fed up with people talking crap about what you've done or what you have in your work, because those people are just people who don't actually use the thing. They personally don't. They're just doing it, and then they just know the thing, think about it, and then they say their piece. If you fan the flame of their piece or like add fuel to their fire of, you know, saying negative things about your work, like then you're giving them what they want, which is publicity, and potentially just proving their point that this thing doesn't help anyone by denying things or saying anything to it. Like, just don't say anything. Just ignore it. Like, those articles are good to know about, like, good feedback for your tool helping or not helping, but just don't read too deeply into it is what I would say for Ray.
But can you see that most people don't have the luxury of turning their backs to the system? Think about the clients you've met as a proxy. Would you tell them to not take the medications that help them be functional because the pharmaceutical industry has questionable ethics sometimes? Would you tell them to stop coming to therapy because what they should really be doing is completely changing the way our society is structured? Sorry, I'm ranting.
I mean, it happens. Ranting does happen. But at the same time, it is true. Like, we never question these things because we have to live by it. Like, they exist, and they're the only like solutions we got. But in the case that, you know, this app is a thing, and everyone has anything to say because it's not important to all of us. Like, it's not food on the table. It's not air to breathe. It's not clothes to wear. It's literal, and it's not homes to live with. It's just literally something that is on the side. If people want it, people can have it. But criticizing something that's kind of like on the side that people may or may not need is dumb enough to saying that the world shouldn't have video games, the world shouldn't have entertainments, the world shouldn't have apps that allows for people to utilize in their life. Like that's just kind of like the case of what Ray is probably pointing out. It's just these kind of things shouldn't prevent you from using this stuff. Instead, you should be thinking of it like as just things that could help. If you don't need it, don't go to it. If you do need it, great. Like, they're there. But I think that at the same time she's saying it in a way that's like, it's there, but everyone needs it. The world is going to crap, kind of thing. And like that's how I feel with Ray's words. But in my case, I feel like it's better. It's like to say it like, it's there, use it. If you don't want it, totally fine. There's other means and methods, like getting the medicine without having to visit Eliza, or visiting an actual therapist to hear your problems out.
I'd rather do something that can help people here and now, even if it ends up being a small step.
Yeah.
A small step.
For some reason, those words echo in my head. A small step.
Eliza helped me, you know. It really did.
Huh.
I was one of the first clients. Originally, I was just supposed to be testing it, but I remember once I was talking about my brother and how much anguish he was causing me and my family. And listening to myself, I realized just how many expectations we had for him. Sometimes unspoken expectations. Ever since then, I've been thinking about that. how the story was always about how he failed us. But what if we failed my brother too? I guess what I mean is, sometimes when we talk out loud and give voice to our problems, we can hear ourselves too. That's why I won't give up on this approach, no matter what anyone says. Pundits, critics, former employees, even you, Evelyn.
Oh.
I'll understand if you don't want to work on Eliza anymore for whatever reason. But, I think what you created has value. And I'm going to continue to do what I can to make it accessible to those who might benefit from it.
Ray takes a deep breath and smiles. Yeah, I ran with the audio, because the auto run of the speech, because I was like, I don't think I need to talk over these. I just want to get through the majority of it. But I see her reason. It's because she saw the magic or the wonders of what it taught her. But again, it's not... mileage may vary with every single person. Not everybody's going to have the same thought process as she does with her situation.
Don't mind me.
Yeah, not everyone has the same situation in understanding. And that's what I hate about it. It's just... or not about it, but like the idea that people don't seem to think for themselves. Instead, they're just wanting somebody to provide those solutions. Like similar to the guy with the family man was like, he wanted solutions immediately. He wants everything to just go away. But it's like, no, you have to do this yourself, because this is your own problems. This is not anyone else's problem. This is what you think. This is what you need to deal with. Guess what? Be a man, own it, or just confront it and, discuss about it and just do something about it for yourself. Not make other people do it for you. That's the problem with some people, of course. There are those clients, of course.
You should get to your session.
But now I'm slightly late for the next session. Hopefully the client doesn't mind. Oh, the client has a timing? Alright, well, I guess we have a time. I didn't know clients have a schedule for sure. Oh, it's the old lady. Alright. That's where I'm going to end it for now in this episode. But thank you guys for watching. This was a really eventful episode. A lot really went down, I would say. A lot of crazy things went down. Next episode, we'll go ahead and try and talk to Holiday, the old lady, as from when we met her during chapter 3, I believe. And I'm guessing this might not be as smooth as it is, but I feel like this is like a client that will slow down the story a little bit, because I feel like with Nora and with Ray kind of going through the motions, and Erlen a little bit going through the motions of saying how bad this whole thing is, but also how everybody's against them, almost kind of made the whole story do this. It builds so much tension, I feel like, to a point where I just feel like we need to take a break. You need to slow down the story train a little bit and give us a little break, comic relief or some kind of relief, to allow me as the person to go through this, kind of to breathe. And I think that hopefully Holiday can provide that somewhat. But we'll see. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching, and hope to see you guys in the next episode of Nobody Minds. Hope you guys have a great, amazing day, weekend, night, or one of watching this. Again, we're getting closer to the end of Eliza. I think we are past halfway point. I think there's about 2-ish hours worth of the video left, I think, or 2-ish hours left of the game left, if I wasn't slowing down for my own commentary, I guess. But yeah, otherwise that's it for this episode. So Roz.